This is light work. Let me testify. This gon' be the year that I break every cycle. Let me testify, right hand on the Bible. I was tripping, chasing every empty title. Now I'm locked in, living like a walking Bible. He ain't failed me yet.
Welcome, y'all, to the Yes Work Podcast. I am Dr. Blaire.
I am Dr. DQ.
And I'm Lady D.
We are so just geeked up that y'all are in this space. This space is for the purpose-driven woman, the women out here who are serious about aligning their lives with God, that want to be strong boss ladies, leaders in this space, that want to work within God's will, that want to be more than just performative in their faith, right? We are not here to be polished and be cute. We can still be cute, but we're here to be obedient. We are here for real alignment, transformation, real activation. And so if you want to join us in this conversation and want to join us in this walk, welcome. Welcome to the room. Today in particular, bless us now. We are going to talk about something a lot of strong women secretly wrestle with. We struggling with it. We've had already some beautiful conversation prior to even hitting the record button.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about softness today, that cocoa butter soft, that when you shake someone's hand, you're like, ooh, their moisture regimen got to be real nice. And candy soft. Yes. And how we embody that as women. We really want to acknowledge the fact that we didn't get hardened for fun. We weren't out here just trying to be hard and tough and strong. We did it because it's working for us. It helps us lead. It helps us survive. It helps us manage. And for some of us, maybe it helps us to avoid being dismissed or labeled or hurt. But the tension piece is again, what protects us in one season may limit us in another. So if you've ever believed that softness equals weakness, that vulnerability feels like exposure instead of wisdom, if you're bold, capable, a boss lady, God-fearing, this conversation is for you. Sit down. If you driving, focus on the road. But listen to us. We're going to reframe softness and use it as a strategy. And we gonna get into this thing because we excited to talk about this. We got some things.
Mm-hmm.
If you have been with us before and have not rated us or reviewed or left a comment or shared, we invite you to do that right now. Go ahead, hit that little heart, make a comment, come back, share this with a friend, with a sister who is in the midst of it, in the struggle alongside with you. So we can spread this work, so we can do this good yes work.
Yeah, we want to know how y'all are feeling because we know our experiences. And sometimes you just want to know, is it just me? Is it just us? Is it just this circle of sisters? So we'd love to hear your experiences. We'd love to connect with you and just let us know that this is what you're seeing and feeling too. We'd love to hear from you.
I love it. Absolutely. So each week, we have been discussing the things that we no longer can unsee. And as Dr. Blaire said, this week is on softness. And I'm telling you, I'm so excited to get into it and just discuss it, unpack it a little bit more. Dr. Blaire's face is just like,
I'm squirming in my seat. I'm uncomfortable, but I know we need to talk about it. So I'm here.
I had to talk about it. And what the thing that we can no longer see is that many of us did not reject softness because we were strong. We rejected it because it wasn't safe. So a lot of us did not wake up one day and decide, I don't want to be soft. We learned that softness costs too much. We learned that being open would get us hurt. Being vulnerable, sometimes it was used against us. Being tender also could make us easy targets. So we had to adjust, right? We had to become sharp or efficient and unbothered. And not because we're cold. Some of us are labeled as cold women or aggressive, but it's because it kept us protected. Sometimes, and Dr. Blaire mentioned this already, but softness sometimes is confused with being passive, or guardedness can be mistaken for uptight, snooty, bougie, all those
I am
things.
a little bougie. I am a little bougie.
A little bougie, right? Love it. I definitely have been called bougie. But somewhere along the way, we were told that soft women would get walked over. right? So we decided we would never be that woman, right? Many of us have said, I'm not going to be that woman. You're not about to walk all over me and make decisions for me. So we thought that being mature meant not reacting or not needing someone, maybe not crying, not asking for help. And that's what we started to identify or call emotional shutdown discipline. We started referring to it as peace. And then we started calling isolation strength. So I want to break it down a little bit. And when we talk about that being guarded, it does work when you guard your heart and when you don't open up, nobody can hurt you, right? So when you don't expect much, you can't be disappointed. And when you carry it yourself, nobody can drop it, right? You're able to depend on yourself. It works. But what worked to protect us in one season might be blocking in another season. So when we think about, I'm trying to think about some of the women, right, just out here in the culture that are great examples of showing softness for us, right? Because I'm struggling. And there's something we were just talking about prior to this episode. We're like, okay, every time on TV and social media, we are told be the strong one, be the strong woman, be the strong Black woman. And we're just trying to identify, like on even TV shows, like who is it that has been identified as soft and not as labeled as a crazy person? And I know for me, I was like, yeah, okay, well, I know we got Felicia Rashad from The Cosby Show. I always looked up to her because I was like, I want to be
Yes.
a mama like her. I want to be a wife like her. She was strong. But I'm
Strong.
struggling, y'all. What y'all got? Anybody?
Ain't none.
Ain't
That's what
none.
I got. Well, we can think about Annalisa Keaton and How to Get Away with Murder. We talking about Olivia Pope, Cookie Lyon, Miranda Bailey, and Grey's Anatomy. They are strong Black
Yes.
women.
Yes, strong.
Period. I don't know if I've seen an example of softness where I was like, oh, I want that, or and I definitely see women, especially in their marriages, where I'm like, oh, look at you. I love that for you. And look how and your husband is on this. And we just had our husbands on the last episode. If you ain't watch it, go on ahead and go back. Go on back. My struggle real, y'all. But I get it's weakness to me. It is submission with that negative ting to it and stereotype to it. And I think about the Black women I saw, and that was beasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if we're talking characters, if memory serves me correctly, in the movie For Colored Girls, Anika Noni Rose played a dance teacher.
Okay.
And I think she was living that soft life. I can't really remember her backstory or her background. So, y'all, if I'm wrong, somebody leave a comment, let me know.
Yes.
But she was very gentle, like from my memory. And she was perceived as weak enough for the guy she went on one date with to take advantage of. And so I think that in that instance, she was perceived as weak when she was just really being soft. But as you watch the movie, you see, like, no, she's very strong because she pursued justice.
Yeah.
But then I also thought about Sierra and Russell Wilson. There was, everybody's asking about Sierra's prayer to get somebody like Russell. Amazing couple. I personally love them. But I think about an instance when someone said something negative about Russell, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but, of course, people are thinking Sierra's such a sweetheart. She's nice. And she absolutely is, but she corrected and addressed that critic. So she's perceived as, I don't know if people thought she was weak, but she's living this soft life from what we see. But baby, she is far from weak. So those are a couple of things I saw.
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
interesting, and I just want to add in a few things as we think about the strong woman narrative, right? There's studies, we have seen studies, and it's been shown that Black women are often perceived as more resilient and less in need of care than other groups. And Dr. Blaire, you brought that up before because there's that documented medical bias where Black women's pain is underestimated. And just this research around what's called the strong Black woman expectation, and it shows that constantly we're having to be strong is linked to higher stress,
Yes.
anxiety, and emotional suppression. So, of course, for us, softness feels unsafe because we've been rewarded for the strength
Strength.
and
Yes.
overlooked when we do need the care.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's a hard reality. It's a hard reality, and it's one that I think that women grapple with as far as how do I this is, if anything, a stereotype that I wanna be a part of. I do wanna be seen as
Mm,
strong. I do wanna be seen as resilient and have grit, etcetera, but at what
yeah.
cost?
That
At
part.
what cost?
Ooh,
That
That
is so
part.
good because I have struggled with this prompt.
Yes.
mm,
Because I think also too, there's this notion of progression that if we do enter this soft life, at least professionally speaking, and for some people, maybe even in their personal lives and their relationships, if they try to enter this soft life, they will feel like there is no progression. So think about any single ladies out there that are telling their significant other, I want to get married, I want to get married, I want to get married. They're beating a dead horse, for lack of a better phrase. And they probably feel like if I don't communicate and let him know and remind him, it's not going to happen. So I really think that that's also an aspect too, is maybe the cost of being soft is a lack of progression. Maybe softness is associated with complacency.
mm.
So I don't know. We could go on about this forever, but
We could. I got
really,
We
all
could.
thoughts. It's a good
come
one.
on now. So at the end of the day, what we don't want, all of you all listening, we don't want you to blame yourself if you found that you've glorified toughness or you've defaulted to toughness or that's your MO. We want you to notice how that survival shaped you and try to figure out exactly what that cost is. So let's talk a little bit about how it showed up for us. And again, Dr. Blaire's facial expressions. We might just have to, I don't know, we might have to screenshot this one and use this as
I
the
love
picture for
it.
the episode. But let's talk, ladies. I want to hear how this showed up for you. Like, when did softness feel dangerous, or maybe the cost of being that low maintenance or unbothered? Like, talk to us. Let's make this real.
Yes. I'll start so I can get it out the way. These beautiful ladies keep me honest and we keep each other accountable. So, again, looking forward to this. I know that for me, the softness piece equated to vulnerability and it equated to absolute weakness. I remember hearing this quote that love is taking the risk of giving someone your heart and knowing that they may break it, but hoping that they won't. I remember hearing that and thinking that's the dumbest thing
Dumb.
I'd have never heard. I'm not taking that risk like that. Like, that's love sounds stupid. Like, this is crazy. And I think about, I am extremely bold, I am assertive, I'm confident, which are things that I'm sure attracted my husband to me. So where does softness fit into that? Like, where does that risk piece, where is it like, oh, I'm giving you my heart and I hope you don't break it. I'm not going to entrust you with something that you could break. This is a crystal ball, right? I don't know how I'm married. Let's be how did I get here? Because that vulnerability piece, that softness of having to share, like, I think I'm falling for you. I remember when my partner shared with me that when we were dating, that he felt that he was falling in love with me. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can do this. Like, let me share,
Mhm.
let me be vulnerable. Y'all, literally the next day he broke up with me. My husband, now husband, he broke up with me the
Mhm.
next day. When I say, see, you see what happens when you soft. You see what happened when it wrecked me. It wrecked me. Now, mind you, he came back and he was like, I was feeling everything really too quickly. It was scary. So that was my immediate reaction to
Mm.
like sharing my feelings with you. And I said, and I've never really told him, hopefully he listened to this episode, but I was like, see, you see what happens when you're soft, when you're vulnerable, when you're transparent? Like, what? So I
Mhm.
absolutely believe, and still do to a certain degree, even though now I'm married and I have to be vulnerable, transparent, I've given him my heart, knowing that there's a risk that it could be chipped, maybe not broken, but chipped. But softness really equates to weakness to me. Vulnerability like invites harm. I'm opening the door to it. So again, if you were to pull my husband into this space, he would say, no, she ain't fully embodying that softness. Like there's lots of work to be done there. But I also recognize that I know that he needs it from me. And again, for those that listened to the previous episode, if you haven't, just pause this one, go on to episode 6 and come back to this. Right. But I know he needs it. So I clench my teeth and I grit and bear it and I do the things, not all the time. I should do it more. And again, these ladies keep me accountable, but I do the things that are soft. So he knows I do care for his heart because I do love him. I do care for him. It's just really hard for me to show it. It's just really hard. So I can acknowledge that the strength is heavy, that the confidence, the assertiveness, and even when I'm sick, right? Just I can do it on my own. I really want to release that. I just don't know how to yet. And emotional intelligence for me is something that I didn't see practice in my upbringing with my aunts, with the strong Black women that I saw. We didn't talk about emotions. We didn't know how to regulate them. So it's something I'm still building and something I'm very intentional about building in my children. But I recognize that, my lack of softness, it creates a distance. It's heavy. It's tiring. There's fatigue around it and it's confusing. So my listeners out, pray for me. Pray for Dr. Blaire because I'm still in it, which is why I was really nervous about this conversation, but also excited because I know that it's work that other women need, that I'm still working through. And that we're doing together.
I just want to say, I remember meeting you in grad school and thinking, you have the best personality ever and just full of love, you know? And I remember also learning, when you first met Antoine and just the giddiness and excitement. So, you have it. It's in there.
It's in there
It's
somewhere.
in
She
there.
deep.
She in there, she deep, but I think you're a person for sure. When you love hard, right? And so you got it. You in there, but
And I want to add too, because you mentioned fatigue with being vulnerable, but there's also fatigue with being strong.
Yeah.
So
yes, it is.
I think on the other side of the soft life, when y'all get there, y'all let me know. We'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
I think if anybody's there, tell us how it is. How's the view? Okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I think once you get into that soft life, hopefully there's less fatigue. But if you got to choose fatigue being strong versus fatigue being vulnerable, I think it's worth the journey to shift into that vulnerability for anybody out there that's feeling the same.
That's good. Well, for me, and we were just talking about this as well before. I'm giving y'all all the little tidbits of our discussion before hitting record, but I'm who's the soft girly and who's the hard girly? And I think out of the group, I clearly must be
You
the
are.
soft girly.
You're the
It's her.
softie.
But
Yes.
for me, I just feel like I've always gone back and forth between being soft and being hard. So definitely by nature, I am. I am a soft girly. I'm emotional. I'm expressive. I will cry. I definitely feel things very deeply, and I'm in tune with my emotions. But somewhere along the way, I definitely have felt that softness wasn't safe. Right? I remember, and I had to I went back and I went back to high school when I was, holding different leadership positions and feeling like I had to be the strong one. I could lead while being kind. I felt like I could, but I noticed that people respected you more when you were a little blunt or a little bit more direct or harder. So I kept that. I started equating hardness with leadership.
Mm.
So then when I got to college, I applied for a position in college and I was told that I wasn't going to get the position because I was too nice, that people would walk all over me. And I know I ain't never tell Quita this. I ain't never tell.
Right. Because I was there. What job was this? Girl, who do I need to go back and talk to? I'm down the street from campus. Who's there?
Girl, that's a whole nother. It was safe coordinator. Yeah. And she told me that I was not going to get the job. Mind you all, I ended up getting the job. But I was told that the students, I guess, at that time would walk all over me. I was too nice. And I needed to be a little bit, harder. And I'm what do you mean? So from that moment on, that really shaped a lot of how I show up in the workspace. Because at that moment, I became very aware of how I was being perceived. Right. And so as I moved into professional leadership, director roles, managing a team, right, that pressure became intensified for me. I felt like I couldn't be too soft or my team wouldn't respect me, but I also couldn't be too firm because then they would label me as the aggressive Black woman.
Yes.
So as a Black woman, like I didn't want that stereotype attached to me. So I was definitely conflicted and it became this whole constant balance. I couldn't complain too much, right? I couldn't need too much or show too much I had to be capable and show that I'm composed and contained. So I think for me, that's what, being strong protected me for. It protected my credibility.
Mm.
It did protect my image and it protected me from being dismissed in spaces where I wanted to show up as like I am a credible source. So I had to learn how to handle those things. I would say in friendships, I definitely I have been the strong one. I have been the encourager. I typically hold it together. But I've recently, as I was preparing for this, our conversation, I was reflecting and I was like, wow, there's times I've noticed when I didn't want to be strong for friends, that's when I started to like pull back. Right. That's when I started to dismiss myself. And so again, listeners, if you have those friends and you're like, oh, she's flaking, no, she's not. She's dealing with something. She's hurting. So it's just something to be mindful of. And then I reflect on my marriage, right? And intimacy. And that's, I feel like things get complicated there, right? Because I struggle. I don't want to be completely independent. I don't I don't want to be the woman who handles everything. I truly don't. I truly don't. I want to be soft. I do. At least I think so. I want to be soft. I want to be cared for. But it's hard to turn off that part of me because I like to have control. I know that I'm capable. I know that I'm strong and independent and can do these things. But I also I want to let down my hair. I want to not have to worry about the things that I shouldn't have to worry about. I want to just somebody to book a trip for me and I don't have to plan all the details and the itinerary.
Thank you.
So we hope your husband listening to this episode too, huh?
You need to listen.
Yes.
So, so I really have been asking myself because I think on the first episode or second one, we talked about I want to live in my soft woman era. And this conversation has me guessing or questioning, like, do I? Do I really? And what does that really mean? What do I have to give up to be soft? It's been challenging. I'm dealing with it. And this episode is great.
Said a few things in there. There's a couple of things. I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But the one thing that I can go back to right now is you talked about how being hard protected your credibility and it was kind of a sense of professional security for you. It just really made me think about Rachel Rogers' book, We Should All Be Millionaires. I was reading that. Y'all, I got goals and aspirations. But I was reading that and she said something along the lines of how if you don't have an opinion, you won't make it or make money or progress, something along those lines. So it's in tune with what you were saying. Like you kind of have to have that opinion. And I think for some people, opinionated and being hard can be synonymous, but it kind of is in step with what she's saying as far as like, hey, I have to show up. I have to be a certain way, execute a certain way, think a certain way, be a certain way so that I can progress. And I just think that happens so often as Black women. So I too never wanted to be the angry Black woman. I was polite and kind. I didn't do confrontation in the workplace. I didn't do it. But in reflection, I'm really not sure if that helped me or if it harmed me on my professional journey. I don't think I ever really thought about whether I was soft or hard or where my approach came from. But in preparing for this topic today, I did think back to a particular encounter that I had with a leader. Now, this may or may not be the same leader I told y'all about a couple of episodes ago.
Girl, is he still working?
Don't get nobody fired now, though. We not gonna name no names.
Okay, so I was in a leadership role. This was my first time in this leadership role, and I had some concerns about the team I was working with, so I went to go speak to him. And it was him and another leader, and we were all in the office, just the three of us. I was talking. Y'all, I don't even think I told Brittany this. Y'all, when I tell you, he looked at me, and then he looked at the other person who was a lady, and he said, yeah, she's gonna cry. Yeah.
What?
He was telling her that I was going to be in tears working in this position.
Oh.
Now, so what I will say is that in hindsight, I was probably a little nervous because, like I said, I don't do confrontation. So coming to him, talking to him did make me a little vulnerable. But in that moment, he perceived me as weak, which was completely far from the truth. Like, sir, you don't know me. I don't know you. We both just got here. Kinda. Don't project that. You don't know me. Right. And so, of course, there have been other times when people thought I was so weak that like I couldn't even form my own thoughts. Like, y'all, I was not weak. I'm still not weak. But in those moments,
Right.
I was just unbothered.
Right.
I
And
didn't
people
care.
get that confused all the time.
I mean, I did not care in those moments and in those situations. I was unbothered. I'm very much so the type of person, I'm going to let you think what you want to think. If you want to do something, go ahead and do it. Come back and tell me about it later when it don't go well. But me not being soft in that moment, exhibiting that softness was never weakness. I'm just the type of person who tries to find that even ground. I want all voices heard and considered when decisions are made. And what people got to realize is that that's actually not softness or weakness. That's actually strength. So ladies, fellas, if you're listening, if you've ever believed that softness is equal to weakness or vulnerability invites harm, strength means handling everything alone, or if you even think that God expects endurance more than honesty, we just want you to kind of take a moment and reflect on that. It doesn't have to be that way. It's not that way.
That's good. Ooh.
So I think that sometimes we enter those spaces mentally, physically even, and emotionally, but it causes us that exhaustion that we talked about. It causes us some loneliness sometimes. It also puts us in a space where we're confusing that control with peace. And so I really just want all of the ladies out there to really just take a step back and say, you know what, I am trying to get to this soft life. If you are, if not, we respect that. But if you're trying to get to this soft life, it's okay. Do not think that softness is equal to weakness.
That's good. That's good. Slow motion. Let's slow this down. I want us to recognize or even have the listener reflect as we refrain with God at the center and the forefront of our mind, what they associate softness with. Again, is it the credibility piece? Is softness equated to danger? Is it the weakness? How are we viewing softness, and how has it been costing us relationships or interactions with people? So if we lower our guard, if we lose leverage, if we open up, do we lose authority, right? If we become soft and tender, that cocoa butter soft, right? Are we then easier to harm, right? What are the things that you associate with that softness? Because I think it's important that we understand that that's not God's design. When we think about softness in the scripture, it wasn't passivity. It was controlled power. When we think about Jesus and the way that he described himself, it was gentle, it was lowly in heart. That's not fragile. That's not indecisive. It's gentle. It's soft. And we got to think about how Jesus confronted situations, how he addressed injustice, hypocrisy, how he rebuked storms, how he carried the cross, right? His gentleness never canceled out his authority. He was still a boss. He was still our savior. right? So gentleness and softness didn't make him weak. It made his strength trustworthy in a way. And
Mhm.
so some of us have equated hardness with that strength, with that wisdom, with authority, but hardness is often just that unprocessed hurt, right? With really good PR, right? It's just the way that we present it. It's the marketing of it. But God is not telling us to abandon discernment. He's not telling us to trust unsafe people. He's asking us to stop confusing emotional shutdown with spiritual maturity. We want to get to the point where our softness with God looks like honesty instead of the endurance piece that Dr. DQ talked about.
He also is not asking us to not communicate.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yes.
still communicate and advocate for yourself while being soft.
Yes.
Because I think for some people that softness becomes silence, which sometimes silence is strength, sometimes it's weakness. You have to decide for yourself. But God is not asking us not to communicate. We still absolutely are women. We are
That part.
grown and we have voices that deserve to be heard.
Yes, I love that, right? It is being able to admit and acknowledge and articulate that I've been hurt or I have this feeling instead of minimizing it and pretending it didn't happen, right? We can still use it. And I think Lady B is actually an amazing example of how softness and assertiveness can be aligned with one another because she can deliver information that's real rough and hard in such a beautiful, tender way that takes into account the heart of the person. You still gonna get this message. You still gonna hear what you need to hear, but I'm
Yeah.
still protecting your dignity and your heart while doing it. You know, whoever
Oh, that's
told
good.
her she was too nice so many years ago, baby, don't confuse this niceness.
Don't
So
get confused. Yeah, that's
that
right.
part, right? So it's allowing yourself to be known, to be heard, to exercise your agency in a way that is still honoring who you are, honoring your assertiveness, your strength. It's not erasing yourself, right? We don't have to use this strength as armor. We ain't got to. So the real limitation isn't necessarily be soft everywhere. We ain't just got to be out here all flippy floppy, all noodled up, right? But where have you been clenching, right? Because you think God expects toughness from you. God doesn't require you to be unbreakable. He invites you to be honest, as Dr. DQ said, right? So softness is really not about surrendering your strength. It's about surrendering your need to grip it so tightly, to have that control in such a rigid way. And so we really want you all to understand that you ain't got to be soft all at once. Don't go out there and say, the guesswork lady said, I just need to be soft. No, in your job, you probably do need to be that boss, right? But
Mhm.
how do you deliver that information, taking into consideration the heart of the person that you're in front of? How do you notice where maybe you've been holding on too much? Right, than what you are meant to hold on to, and then it's hardening you in a way. So asking God to just cleanse your heart, to soften your heart. That's my daily prayer.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Lord,
Yes.
soften my heart,
Yes.
because this
That is
thing is like a diamond. It's hard, hard.
Diamonds are forever.
Yes.
that's so
We
good,
gonna work on
Dr.
them
Blair.
diamonds though. Those not the diamonds that we want.
Thank you. No, it's not.
So we hope
Yeah.
that diamond is not forever.
Yes.
Mm-mm-mm. Soften the heart. I'm sorry, because I'm still on that. That touched me because the heart that's my daily prayer. That is the prayer that I have every time, like if I'm in a difficult or anytime there's tension in my marriage, right? It was about I had to go to my heart and where is my heart and why is it hardened? Like in seeking God's face and just getting on my knees and praying and asking for that heart because the position or the posture of where your heart is can direct you in the right or the wrong place. Was saying the right or the wrong words. And that heart is an important muscle that you have to work with. There's many places where you might be right now, right? So you may be in this place where you're saying, I want intimacy. I want closeness. I still have these parts of me that I want to share with a partner, but you hold yourself back. Not because you don't care, right? But it's because you've learned to be careful, and you say you want rest. You might be in that place where you want rest, but the moment that things slow down, you start to feel anxious. Like if you stop pushing, everything might fall apart. So you keep producing, you keep leading, you keep handling it. I know that's me. Yeah, I don't wanna let it go.
Yep.
And maybe you've gotten so used to being that strong one, that strong friend, the strong one in your circle that you don't even know what you're feeling half the time. You just know you're tired or you're irritated or you're numb. Maybe you don't know who is safe to even soften with, right? So there's so many things that we have to look at. We have to learn how to regulate ourselves and things and look at that. Sometimes what we're calling peace is actually just an emotional shutdown. So it's not that you calm, you're just managing sometimes the perception. So and you're just trying not to be misread, right? As sometimes as I've shared, I don't want to be read a certain way that I am weak. And I want to normalize this for us. It's guardedness is again is what keeps us going. It is what keeps us strong. It keeps our head up, held high, keeps you respected, right? As I mentioned, I needed the respect from my team. And so it's okay to be seen as strong. Sometimes it's going to keep that respect. It's going to keep you promotable. It will keep you from being dismissed. It keeps you safe in rooms that were not always built for you. So softness does not have to erase that, as we've already said. It builds on it. And so I really just really want to encourage you all to do some of those thoughts and understand that in that space that you're in, it's okay and you're learning and we're all learning this work together.
That's awesome. I think that one message that we do want to get out to the world,
Mhm.
to our fellow Black women, is that softness isn't something you perform, it's something you permit in the right places. Okay. So softness is where we want to be. It's, I think, a state of mind, and it's not always an action. I'm being soft. Sometimes you have to work on that journey and that bridge from where you are now to that soft life. But what we want you to do is to probably journal. I don't know. These some questions we want y'all to think about. You might want to write it down. I don't know how you journal. If you like me, you might have a journal, depending on where you are. You might have a bunch of sticky notes. I don't know who feels seen right now, but I have I'm not going to tell you how many sticky notes I have. So you
I
just might
know.
want to write these down.
I love Post-it.
I know, especially the accordion, but the ones that just pop out. What we want you to do is to actually define what that soft life looks like for you. What would that look like? Define it, compare it to where you are now so that you have a clear vision on where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do, how you're trying to live. And then we want you to think about, do you associate softness or a soft life with being unsafe? And where'd you learn that? What are you protecting when you are not in that soft life? Okay. Where is God working on you? Because I'm sure that as you're journaling, as you're writing, something is speaking a little louder to you than the other places. And so I want you to consider, where is God inviting you to loosen your grip a little bit? Where is He asking you, or what is He revealing to you about where you can start to take steps towards that soft life? So think about those questions. This is an elephant. You got to eat it one bite at a time, right? So like my sister said earlier, it's not something you can just flip a switch on and off. It's not going to be quick. It's absolutely a journey. And that's actually my daily prayer. Every day just thanking God for the journey that I'm on. Thank you, Lord, for choosing me for this journey. So as you are reflecting and thinking, saying yes to these questions and saying yes to God is going to be amazing for you.
It really is. I love that. I think it's important that you all honor and recognize the fact that you are not alone in this. We have shared what we are going through in regards to our journey as far as embodying softness, gentleness, what that looks like for us. I love that Dr. DQ said softness can be a mindset. I love that Lady B talked about using softness in order to touch people's hearts, right? And then there was me. Girl, stop. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, which again just shows that we want to walk alongside you all in doing this work. This is not something that you have to do in isolation. This is not something where we want some radical shifts, right? Your yes to obedience into this work can just be in those reflective prompts that Dr. DQ gave, but we got to do something. Awareness is a great first step, but in and of itself, what is it going to lead to if you don't pair it with a plan, behavioral changes, and action? So we talk about it, you all. This is the work. This is the obedience. This is the activation. This is a transformation that can happen if you are able to move into this space of being more reflective, being more God-led, and allowing that to transform you into someone different, into the person that God is calling you to be. Our next episode, we in the healing phase, right? This is our healing phase. We're going to talk about obedience without resentment, the freeing, the peace that can come from obedience, as opposed to feeling like it's confining us, it's restricting us, it's preventing us from showing up authentically and being who I want to be. Ooh, that's going to be another one. That's going to be another one. So we hope that you come back next week to listen. We hope that you like, that you comment, that you share your personal journey, where you are right now with your soft life era, or where you want to be in regards to that. Share this with someone, even if it's a gentle nudge, like, oh, she real hard. Let me just send her this episode. It's all right. We're in it together again. So this is not a space of judgment. This is a space of glorifying God. This is a space of helping one another and doing things with one another. So let's engage in this work together. Come back next week. We appreciate you. We love y'all. And thank you again for the support, for being here in this space with us. And say yes to the work.
Yeah.
Bye.